Hi, if you've ever experienced in your life a situation where you thought nothing is going according to plan, you have no idea where your life is going, and you've had questions around why is this happening to me? Why me? What am I ever going to do about this? There is a name for that. Hey everyone, my name is Shama. I am a board certified chaplain and educator in the field of professional spiritual caregiving. One of the things that I get asked a lot is, what do we do as professionals? So one of the things I kind of want to bring it back to the larger conversation that we have around what we refer to as spiritual distress. Anytime anyone has experienced a life situation where things didn't go according to plan, you've been diagnosed with something that will completely change the way you live your life. It could be anything ranging from any kind of loss. It could be the death of a loved one. It could be loss of a job. It could be loss of a dream career. It could be loss of a dream relationship. All of these things contribute towards feelings of spiritual distress. Most people don't talk about it in those terms, but I know for a fact that every one of us goes through this. There has been a time in my own life, multiple times in my own life, where I have felt that what was the point of life anyway? What is my purpose anymore? What will my life look from this point forward, or is this what my life is all going to be about? And all of those conversations are hard questions that not everybody is involved in wanting to answer this. You may not even know that that's what you're dealing with, but these questions kind of play around in your mind a lot. One of the things I have learned, again, as a spiritual care provider for over a decade now, is that there are things that you can do to minimize spiritual distress. What I mean by that is there is nothing that we can do that can completely alleviate the probability of ever experiencing spiritual distress. But what can help, though, are challenges that we are willing to take on versus challenges we just absolutely have to take on because we do not have any other choice. These balances become more important as we move along. The more I talk about spiritual distress, the more I want to highlight the fact that there are nuances around it. Not everyone will experience spiritual distress in the same way, but at the core of it, there will be some fundamental existential issues that will come up for each one of us, depending on what life situation we're dealing with. So for example, an example from my own life, I remember feeling absolutely lost and devastated when I could not continue studying astronomy anymore. I did not get into the school that I wanted to get into once we immigrated to the US. And all of those things completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I feel that I am in a better place now than I was when this situation erupted in my life. And what ended up happening was, one of those conversations that I had with my parents was an helpful conversation, but at the same time, the larger conversation that I was having, and at the core of spiritual distress, if you're from a faith tradition, is questioning why is the divine letting this happen to me? What have I ever done to deserve this? What will my life do from this point forward? What will I ever do with my life? And all of those things are genuine conversations, but I do want to encourage conversations around it. I want you all to recognize that each one of us goes through these challenges. Some of us may be going through challenges right now. I would love to hear from you. How do you experience spiritual distress in your life, and what have you done, if there's anything that you have done to address it in a different way. One of the things I do offer is, if you have access to a professional spiritual care provider, I highly encourage getting in touch with them. What that does is actually helps you realign, and reconnect with your core, what your values are, what your meaning and purpose is, where do you think you actually belong. All of those terms that we actually refer to as spiritual needs will be talked more about with the help of a professional. And I highly encourage that. This may come across as like a biased thing for me to say, but I do know that in my own practice, but also getting all the help that I needed when I was experiencing extremes of spiritual distress, that has helped me most to get to where I am in my life right now. And I do feel more aligned and more connected to my own life, my heritage, my culture, my faith tradition, but also the people around my life, and feel that I actually have a purpose that I'm now walking on. And I would love for everybody to experience this. I know this may seem like a gigantic thing to say. It may feel like a huge goal that I am expressing, but I do know that it is possible for all of us to experience that kind of alignment and that resonance, that you know that you're doing the most right thing for you and your goals. And if there's anything else around that may come up, a professional can definitely help with that. But what this does, addressing spiritual care from a larger perspective, is one of those things that you are able to then start recognizing what your own inherent strengths are, and the strengths of the tradition. If you're born into a tradition, you identify with the faith tradition, how do you dip into all of those aspects of your life to navigate life situations? And we all know that life can always throw a curveball any given time. And so depending on where you are and how much you're able to reflect and dip into your own inherent strength, and resources that you already have available to you, will help you navigate life situations so much more easily. And especially when times get difficult, to know that there are things and places and people that you can rely on to help you along different situations in life. But if there are questions around spiritual distress, and if there's anything in particular that you'd love for me to go deeper into, please drop that in the comments. I would love to have more conversations around it. I'll see you in my next video. Take care.